Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. We're tackling some pretty dense stuff this time, Kal and Sat Purush.
Not exactly light dinner conversation.
Right. And the material you sent, it's fascinating, but dense, like almost a puzzle box of ancient wisdom. But that's what we're here for, to unpack it.
I think listeners will be surprised how relevant these old ideas still are.
Right. So Kal, it's more than a name, right? Like a force.
Yeah, think like gravity, but maybe less fun at parties.
Definitely.
The text painted as like the energy behind all the tough stuff in life. Suffering, birth, death, that whole cycle. Ever feel stuck, like forces beyond you are in control? That's the kind of vibe we're talking about with Kal. But here's the thing. These texts, they offer a way OUT.
And they describe it as managing, like organizing these lower planes of existence, which is an interesting take.
Totally. Like even if it's not a picnic, there's cosmic order to it, which isn't unique, by the way. This idea of a demiurge, big, powerful being, makes the material world. Gnostics, others, they've got similar figures.
Well, yeah, it's giving like Old Testament, man shall have dominion over the fish kind of energy, you know? Someone laying down the law.
Exactly. That whole Genesis vibe, it really lines up with how they describe Kal, this being with authority setting rules.
So if Kal is this powerful, how did it even get here? What's the origin story?
That's where Sat Purush enters the picture. Imagine two sides of a coin, yeah? Sat Purush, all positive, expansive energy. Kal, more the constricting type. And get this, the texts say Kal was actually supposed to bring Sat Purush's glory into creation.
Okay, so from cosmic glory, how do we get mosquitoes? And rush hour traffic.
Like, picture the ultimate lost in the weeds scenario, right? Start with this grand vision, but you get so caught up in the details, the original idea, it fades.
So Kal, got sidetracked. Mosquitoes were design flaw, maybe.
Interesting way to put it. But those imperfections, right? The tough parts of life, they're what make us look for something more than just Kal's cycle, you know?
Which brings the million-dollar question, how do we escape this Kal situation? That's Sat Purush's role.
You got it. Texts are clear. Only Sat Purush gets us out of this suffering loop, leads us to liberation.
And not just any liberation, we're talking boundless plane, pure bliss, no worries.
Exactly. Not some far-off place, though. Texts suggest it's within us already, but finding the way there, that's the journey.
And it's not about lighting incense, hoping for the best, is it? One part even said rituals, all that. That's not how to reach Sat Purush.
It's not a checklist of good deeds. This is deeper, more transformative, you know.
So not the motions, but the reason behind them.
Bingo. They make this distinction, action versus results. Kal doesn't care about rituals, but the results of how we act, the intention. Very interested in that. Think about a time you made a choice, later regretted. Karma, right? Those consequences, good or bad. But we've got the power to choose differently. That's what's empowering.
So it's not going through the motions of religion, but truly living a certain way.
Now you're getting it. Radical idea. Even today, look beyond the external stuff, go for deep interchange. A consciousness shift, that's what breaks us free.
This is already making me rethink some things. But how does that interchange happen? Amidst all the chaos of life, how do we even connect with Sat Purush?
Now that's a great question. And it's where things get really interesting. The texts give clues, especially through Kabir, a mystic who really grappled with this stuff.
Now, this is exciting, getting practical. How do these ancient ideas work today? Let's dive into Kabir's insights. So we've got this Kala force shaping things, but also a way out the Sat Purush path to liberation. And that's where Kabir's ideas get really interesting. He cuts through all the jargon and gets right to the point.
He really does. And he's very clear that reaching Sat Purush isn't about elaborate rituals or even, typical goodness. It's about a certain kind of bravery.
Bravery, like dragon-slaying bravery. How does that connect to spiritual stuff?
Not exactly slaying dragons, though it might feel like it sometimes. Kabir is talking about facing hard truths, not just about the world, but about ourselves, our beliefs, all of it.
So looking in the mirror, flaws and all, that takes guts.
Absolutely. Questioning everything you thought you knew, letting go of comfortable illusions, challenging norms. It's not easy.
It makes me think of that line about the world being a wilderness and the master, the Sat Purush, being our guide. Not exactly a walk in the park.
No, definitely not. This is navigating the real messy stuff of being human. Confusion, suffering, desire, disappointment, showing up with courage, even when it's tough.
So not about earning some cosmic prize, but facing the wilderness inside and out, coming to terms with how things are. But And maybe this is my own WN wilderness talking. If we're trying to escape Kal's influence, how does that work with Sat Purush being even more revered than God? Like one soul of the universe level?
Great question. And it gets at a real paradox in these texts. We've got Kal, this powerful force managing things, but then Sat Purush seems to be beyond even our usual ideas of God.
So it's not about picking a side, Kal or Sat Purush.
It's more nuanced than that. It's realizing that to truly get IT, we might have to look past language, past traditional religion. Maybe the master of the Sat Purush isn't a separate being, but more like a state of being, a level of consciousness beyond those dualities.
So not praying to Sat Purush, but trying to become Sat Purush.
In a sense, yes. It suggests that liberation is about realizing the divine spark within ourselves, that part of us already connected to the one soul.
And that's the key to breaking free from Kal, from karma, from that whole cycle.
Precisely. It's inner transformation, aligning ourselves with the Sat Purush, our true essence. And in doing that, we transcend the limits Kal and the material world impose.
You said before, Kal cares less about rituals, more about the impact of what we do. But this whole aligning with Sat Purush, embodying that higher consciousness, isn't that an action too?
Absolutely. The most essential one, in fact. Not rituals out of obligation, but cultivating deep inner alignment with truth, love, what's beyond ego and the material. Recognizing each choice, each thought, is a chance to shift from separation to unity.
Makes you wonder if we could measure that kind of action, that inner shift, on a big enough scale. Would Kal even notice?
Now that is an interesting thought.
So not just escaping Kal, but changing from the inside out. And that change, that's the real key to breaking free and connecting with Sat Purush. But how do we make it last? Cultivate it as a way of life.
That's the heart of it, isn't it? And these texts, they actually offer some guidance on that too.
So not just escaping Kal, but changing from the inside out. And that change, that's the real key to breaking free and connecting with Sat Purush. But how do we make it last? Cultivate it as a way of life.
That's the million-dollar question, right? And these texts, they offer some clues. They point out this difference between how humans and animals experience karma.
Okay.
Humans were thinking all the time, self-aware. Every action, it's like we're creating new karma. But animals, they just exist in the flow, right? Pure instinct.
So we're trying to tap back into that, even with all our thoughts.
Imagine acting not from ego, not separation, but from that same deep alignment with Sat Purush.
Like upgrading our operating system. From me versus the world to we are all connected.
Exactly. When our actions come from that unity, that one soul of the universe connection, they don't create the same kind of binding karma. It's more like expressions of our true nature.
Okay.
Effortless, wise, compassionate.
Our actions become less about me and more like the universe flowing through us, like instruments in this cosmic orchestra, you know?
And I think that's the key to understanding Kal and Sat Purush. They're not enemies fighting, but two sides of the same reality.
Okay.
Kal gives us the structure, the limit. Right? And Sat Purush, that's the boundless source, the creativity, the love, those are the brushstrokes.
So less about escaping Kal's influence, more like transcending this whole good, bad, positive, negative thing altogether.
You're getting it.
Even within the hard stuff, the limitations, right? In Kal's domain, that's where the potential for liberation is, for union with Sat Purush.
You've got it, exactly. It's like those optical illusions, you know. Look one way, see one thing, suddenly shift your view. Completely different picture. Kal, Sat Purush, two sides of the same coin, two ways of seeing the same reality.
So for our listener out there wrestling with these big concepts, maybe it's not how do I escape, but how do I see this differently? How do I escape from a place of more understanding, more compassion, aligned with that one soul that Kabir's talking about?
And maybe, just maybe, that shift, that interchange, that's the key to unlocking everything within us.
Profound stuff to think about as we navigate our own wilderness, inside and out, right? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. We'll see you next time.